Hello, this is Reverend Angelia with today's Bible reading. Today's reading comes from Galatians 1, Paul, called by God. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, the gospel I preached is not something that man made up. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Remember, he got it on the road, he went blind. And Jesus said, "Why are you persecuting me, Saul?" Rather, I received it by revelation from Jesus Christ. Himself appeared to him. For you have heard of my previous way of life in Judaism. And remember, he was not a good guy. He was working with the powers that be to find and persecute and even kill the Christians. How intensely I persecuted the church of God and tried to destroy it. Because it was a threat to the Jewish, belief system. So, they weren't too happy about it. I was advancing in Judaism beyond many Jews of my own age and was extremely zealous for the traditions of my fathers. And that's an important word, they're traditions. There are a lot of things that are religious traditions that are not necessarily, something that God has ordained. But when God, who set me apart from birth and called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son in me so that I might preach him among the Gentiles. So, even he believes that you're chosen. You can certainly come to Christ, but God knows his own. I did not consult any man. And you don't have to. If you know you're doing what God has told you to do, you don't have to consult any man. Nor did I go up to Jerusalem to see those who were apostles before I was, because he knew he was called. He didn't feel like he needed to do, a little check-in with them to make sure he was okay, because he knew he was okay. But I went immediately into Arabia and later returned to Damascus, because he was so filled with the joy he couldn't contain it. He had to go out and spread it. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to get acquainted with Peter and stayed with him 15 days. Because remember, Jesus said Peter was the rock upon whom he built his church. So, of course, when Paul felt like he had done what he was ready to do, he wanted to get to know Peter. I saw none of the other apostles, only James, the Lord's brother. So, Jesus' brother. Remember, at one point, Jesus' family was like, why are you doing this? Who do you think you are? And he's like, you're not accepted as a prophet in your own town amongst your own people, because they knew you growing up. And that's how a lot of them still see you. I think there's a part of my family still sees me as they did when they got to know me again, because my parents were divorced and they got back together. They still see me as a 9-year-old kid that they got to know then. They don't, know anything about me, but they think they do. So they come up with these theories and things, and I'm just like, you have no idea who I am, do you? I assure you before God that what I am writing you is no lie. Later, I went to Syria and Cilicia, and maybe someone had called him, a liar, and he felt the need to say that, because in psychology, we know usually if someone says this is true or this is no lie, it's either because they are telling a lie or because they've been accused before, and so they, have to make that distinction for you. They want you to know. I was personally unknown to the churches of Judea that are in Christ. They only heard the report. The man who formerly persecuted us is now preaching the faith he once tried to destroy. And of course, that's going to get people's attention. If you're this guy, who's doing these things and hunting people down, and then suddenly you switch sides, that's gonna get people's attention. And that's why I believe Jesus did it. because that would get people's attention. And they praised God because of me. And, not because of Paul himself, but because Paul was able to be saved. So if you have this person who's persecuting the Jews, the Christians, early Christians, they were Jews at first, but then he does a total turnaround and becomes a Christian, that's going to get some notice. And that's why Paul gets a lot of notice, and was so effective as a minister to the Gentiles. That's it for now. Until next time.